Hello and welcome back to the Disc Golf Pro Tour on JomezPro. You are watching the third and final round of the Dynamic Discs Open, the back nine specifically, out here at Emporia Country Club. Big sexy commentary with you as always, Nate Sexton and Jeremy Koling.
And if you came here to watch Paul McBeth run away with this competition, then you should probably go and watch some other footage because that's not happening right now. McBeth had opened up an 8-stroke lead just on after hole 6. 8-stroke lead. That is down to 2 strokes after the triple bogey stretch he had on 8-9. Emerson Keith clawing back 5 strokes in those 2 holes. Calvin Heimberg making a push. He is now tied with Kevin Jones for 3rd place. He is only 5 back.
Hole 10, par 3, 402, OB down the entire right side. It's a blind basket location because of this hill. Our players are going to try to just throw a very straight shot, but with the wind conditions today, that is so difficult to put 400 feet of power behind the disc and not have it either hyzer or flip.
One of only 3 holes on the day, averaging below par, just barely though at 2.97. On this final stretch, the last 9 holes of the course, he has whittled down the lead with just consistent play. Still only 1 down on the round, but not a bad score to be under par at this course. And this is turned over too much. I'm scared that this may have gone out of bounds, but I think
somehow that's in bounds. And we saw only red flags. Right after that was thrown, McBeth turned to me and said, "Did Emerson go out of bounds?" And I said, "Yeah, he did." But that somehow, I didn't see how. I was looking forward to seeing that footage to see if I could see how, but it's in bounds by a few inches, putting for birdie.
And Ricky kind of a bit fortunate with that rollout to stay in bounds, but he is well short. That'll be a tricky putt. Kevin really with this opportunity needs to make the most of every shot. And this is not going to turn over enough. That is going to be incredibly difficult to get a birdie from there. And McBeth also with an opportunity to make a statement that he is able to bounce back from a 4-over stretch over the span of 2 holes. And his bounce back percentage has to be one of the best. Just to be able to take a bogey, make it a part of his past, and brush it off his shoulders, step up and throw a great shot.
This is drifting right.
No, and a bad kick. That did not get back in bounds, and McBeth has compounded another mistake. And with Emerson staying in bounds.
At this point, I think everyone on the tee still thought Emerson was out of bounds.
Yeah, but that is
not the case.
We'll see
his lie, yeah. McBeth approaching here, and look at the wind just hammer that disc down.
That was a tricky approach made look very simple. I mean, I'm sure he's not impressed with it, but that could have been worse. You can see that wind picking up right now. 52 feet is the graphic. Kevin doesn't get it over the basket high enough to let that tailwind drop it in. Ricky not completely out of it, but he needs to start making putts like that if he wants to somehow claw his way back into contention.
I don't know. I think Emerson must have just snuck through all of that foliage behind him.
And when it's going your way, it's going your way. And that was a 2-stroke opportunity. That could have tied him with Paul McBeth at 21 under par. But either way, he's going to claw back a stroke. Kevin's going to get a stroke as well. The whole card gaining a stroke here on McBeth. 3 straight bogeys, something that I would have just said was not even possible at the consistent level of play he has showed through this entire event.
3 straight bogeys is not even telling the story. We're talking about a triple bogey,
yeah,
and then 2 bogeys. I mean, unbelievable. Yeah. I don't want to be overstating the situation, but it looked like a runaway. It's looked like a runaway since the 5th hole of the tournament.
It really has. He's just been the only to go bogey-free 2 rounds in a row. There were only 3 bogey-free rounds played in the entire event, and he was 2 of them.
One-stroke game.
And that drone flyover seemed a lot more peaceful than these violent conditions are showing these players right now. Strong left to right.
It's just all about how much push does Emerson have, because McBeth is bouncing back. There's you got more than you ever could have hoped from his end as far as giving you a chance to come back into this thing, and Emerson's still going strong now with a beautiful shot.
That was stepping up. That is clutch, earning the follow flight. And look at the width there, and the wind playing tricks, bouncing the disc up and down and coming in with a soft landing. Not even that is a guarantee with the wind blowing as swift as it is right now.
Look at that wind. Wow.
Ricky going with the lower line, looking for that late stability. Kind of never really got the skip he was hoping for.
I got to shout out Rick, too. He's taken his fair share of heat for some plaid shorts, for some whatever.
Slick
the outfit. This is one of his best outfits I've ever seen.
I'm going to give, I agree with you. He's dressed very well for this entire event. In non-important news, Ricky's looking great out there.
Hey, you see it, you say it.
Of course. And Kevin with a great shot, a little help off the big old tree up. What tree is that? Nate, I'm going to put you on the spot again.
It's a sycamore.
That's a sycamore?
Yes.
How sure are you?
100%.
100%.
And this is a clutch shot right now. Paul puts a low-driven hyzer out there. This looks fantastic. Yes.
And it is.
Great shot. Bleeding stopped.
Yep.
Most likely going to be able to connect there for a birdie.
I'm not counting anything until all these putts are in the basket. It's just the wind is blowing too strong right now.
I just don't think he can bogey from there. I can't see it.
And Ricky with the spin. Oh, come on. That is so many chains. Just not maybe an inch, half inch too low. Just the back end of the disc catching the cage and pulling it back out of the basket. Emerson makes good for his birdie. Up to Paul, looking at a slightly less wind
to keep the lead.
Yeah, and that's in. Kevin Jones with a short birdie putt. Oh, no.
Brutal spit out.
Oh. Ricky, I wouldn't call Ricky so much a spit out, but both putts very easily could have stayed in, and we should be flashing the star frame graphic right across the screen right now, but unfortunately Kevin a little bit too much steam, maybe a bit too high, and Ricky's just a bit too low. But other than that, birdies for the top two players in the field right now.
Hole 12, par 3, 324. It looks simple enough, but into a headwind. I'm curious about some of the numbers here.
Average is right above par, 3.06. A decent number of birdies. 23 players out of this 96 player field were able to pick up the birdie.
This could be tracking OB, but it catches the tree. I think that might have been gone out of bounds if it doesn't.
That was a very fortunate break for Emerson. McBeth, who has gone with a forehand in previous rounds on this hole, is looking at lining up the backhand flex play, which I like a lot in this situation. Keeping the disc low, overstable, driven shot. It's hard to predict what the disc will do with the forehand up high and trying to get around. And this is just beautiful. Keeping the nose up. That just really the sign of a great player. You see how that disc came in with that just 5% of nose up?
It looked too low out of
5
his hand,
degrees.
but the angles are so good.
Yeah.
Able to continue forward.
Ricky, not quite enough commitment. It's so hard to throw the shot. You really have to almost yank it over. It's such an uncomfortable angle to force right out of the hand.
Especially with OB on the right. because you feel like you're just ripping it straight into the OB.
Kevin deciding to try that forehand. We've seen him get this forehand with this disc to flex up. This could be scary if he doesn't put a lot of hyzer on it. And oh my goodness, it has just taken off. That is so far out of bounds, and
not an easy shot here.
No, it's not. That needs to slow down.
And that
just
one does stay in, barely.
Emerson with a nice nose-up layup, looking like he is most likely going to drop a stroke from Paul. Ricky, a valiant effort. He really is laying everything on the line, giving his best effort every chance he gets. Just not...
Wow.
And that... with Paul McBeth stepping up for the short putt for birdie. That is a 3-stroke swing for Kevin and Paul. That almost takes Kevin completely out. Yeah, that takes him out with just a few holes left. I can't imagine a scenario where Kevin brings himself back in at this point.
Hole 13, 399 feet, OB cart path on the right, OB rough on the left. Again, just wind management. Throw the disc hard, throw over stable, and hope that you have enough energy and enough hyzer to bring you back in bounds.
Paul back to, if you can call it a comfortable 2-stroke advantage.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, it's not very comfortable when just a few holes ago it was 8 strokes. But always good when you give yourself just a little bit of breathing room. Such an important tee shot, as you have to trust the drive so wide with so much stability. That is very well done. 28 feet left. This is essentially match play at this point for Emerson. He has the match shot for shot, and then some. A couple of strokes he needs on McBeth, but he has to at least put himself in position for the birdie, and he has not done that. In fact, he has done one worse by going out of bounds.
Almost no chance to save from over there. Probably 70 feet from the basket.
And it looks like there's a potential for a 2-stroke swing again in Paul's favor this time.
Rick, very low here. This needs to get a lot of edge.
I don't think it has enough, and that is going to be out of bounds pretty early on the fairway. See how Kevin responds to the disastrous double bogey on hole 12. This is turned over, and this is not hyzering early enough. This is going to be out of bounds as well, and only one player on this card safe, and it's McBeth, the leader, inside the circle. Wow.
Great shot from Rick.
That is not easily done. Very important for Kevin to focus on this. Needs to slow down. And it feels like a lot of times when you are right there in the competition, in the hunt, and then it's gone, and then just like that, he's 8 strokes back, that you can kind of unravel a bit. He still has to play for position, obviously, for the entire event.
Oh, Emerson, so close.
That is going to be a 2-hole stretch that Kevin will look back on, and unfortunately not the same stretch he had at this point of the round yesterday when he had rattled off 6 consecutive birdies. And McBeth, for a second, it looked like that could have stood up and rolled out of bounds, which would have just been exactly what Emerson needed. Only going to lose 1 more stroke to Paul here. And at this point, it's worth mentioning Calvin Heimberg. He birdied hole 13. He is making a charge right now as Emerson, he is only even par in the last 5. Kevin Jones, just in the last 9-hole stretch, he is at 4 over par, but 4 over in the last 2.
Yeah.
And Ricky's not really getting the birdies that he needs either. And so Calvin Heimberg on chase card, he's starting to creep himself back into the contention.
Hole 14, par 4, 789. You've seen this one over the years. We've got OB on both sides. It's very wide, generous fairway, but a pinched off tee shot with the trees where they are, and a tricky approach as it just gets pretty close to that OB fence and also the OB area beyond the rock wall.
Pretty brisk headwind coming into this funneled tee shot. Paul electing to go with the hyzer, but he has left this early, and there is no way to birdie from that position into this headwind. This is an opportunity once again for Emerson to potentially make up a stroke. Not many holes left to do it. Needs a big tee shot here. And he has thrown a big tee shot. This is using all of the height through the gap. Big flex off to the great side of the fairway that you want to be on. You want to be on the left side if you're going to throw the forehand approach.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Oh, wow. And Ricky has even blistered this one even further. Once again, showing he is power guy. He is absolute power guy. Rips that one over 500 feet into a headwind with a low ceiling. Kevin going for the forehand turnover play.
Never really got up enough to get significant distance, but certainly in bounds and still with a play to go for the green.
Paul really with only one option executes the shot very well. Puts him in position to save the par.
Got to get over that.
So close to being what he wanted. One tree in the way, and that is exactly what he hit.
And Emerson not liking the forehand option.
Oh, and he is also heading right towards that tree. All 3 players right in that same area after 2, and that is a wasted opportunity, unfortunately, for Emerson Keith. And Ricky, a great approach. Just what an advantage it is to get that far down the fairway. Just a simple pitch hyzer sidearm.
Nice third from Kevin there. And that isn't great.
Wow.
It's not really even good. That was low and flat, and he's left himself a very difficult putt.
So Emerson really maybe a potentially huge blown opportunity to not get 2 strokes if Paul is unable to convert on that, as Emerson is going to be able to tap in for the par. pressure squarely on McBeth's shoulders now. As you can see, some of the other MPO field gathering around to watch the end of this exciting action.
Paul for par.
And 2 feet over the basket. Wow. And besides the birdies that Emerson and Paul took on hole 11, they have not shared the same score on a hole in the last 9 holes. Just back and forth. And now it's going to be down to 2 strokes with 4 holes remaining. And you just can't forget about hole 16. That is a 2-stroke separator all day long.
And 17, one of the most difficult on the course.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hurdles still yet to clear. Starting off here on the 15th, par 3, 447. Big island green, wide hyzer is the only play really for these guys. Get it out to the right and swing it back to the basket. On hole 14, somebody might have made a birdie there from outside the circle, and his name's Calvin.
He is pressing. This is wide. Ricky's going to need a lot of ground action. It's skipping, but not really what he needed. A bit of a left to right tailwind, kind of forcing the disc away from the basket. Player need maybe go a bit higher, maybe a steeper hyzer angle to swing back to the pin.
Yeah, definitely.
And that right there is a great shot from Emerson.
Pure hyzer the whole way. A lot of power required.
A little fist bump there from Rick. He acknowledges that this is now a 2-horse race on this card, at least, between Emerson and Paul. And Kevin's really late getting back in bounds. That would be a disastrous mistake to miss this island. The drop zone is not that friendly or favorable to a player who would be throwing their 3rd shot, so at least a 1-stroke advantage by staying in bounds there.
Paul, big wide hyzer, looks to be tracking left.
Good looking tee shot. 26 feet away. That's well done. Oh, he was ready to chase it down. A great line drive effort from 55 feet. It just has not been Ricky's day. He's just been knocking at the door and just...
Yeah, close in so many occasions. And still battling, obviously, making a lot of great putts, but not enough on this day.
That is a clutch putt right into the heart. Paul putting the pressure back on Emerson's shoulders. Sometimes you like being first in that situation when there are 2 putts that are about equal distance and you're playing essentially match play with another player. You want to get that putt in the basket first. And Emerson unable to make the putt as well. So once again, there's going to be another dance around as McBeth gains a stroke, and just seeming like the story is writing itself the way it does so many times, with Paul just being that perseverance to be able to continuously make the shots when he needs them. That's why he's a 5-time world champion. It's why he's one of the greatest disc golf champions we have ever seen in the sport. The consistency is always there. He's always pressing.
Could come down to this, I think. Hole 16, par 3, 339. Drop zone if you go out of bounds in any of that water, or you go beyond the wall, and you're making 4 at that point. So it's a 2 here can really do something for you.
I have to say that even though there is the layup zone that you can throw a tee shot off to the side, the safest play to get a par on this hole is not playing off to the side. It is by attacking this green, especially now that that wall is there.
So windy though.
And we have got the overhead view. Paul's drive is just perfect. His distance control at the 315 to 380 distance is maybe only ever rivaled by none other than Ken Climo.
Just Ricky goes over all the trees.
Incredibly overstable disc. Ricky's watching, and look at it just hang on to the furthest part of the green. I think he can't even believe that stayed safe.
He doesn't know. He walked straight from there to the drop zone.
Did he really?
He did.
Okay. Well, I guess he didn't see the spotter with the green flag there, but Ricky is safe. And this is it right here, folks. This is Emerson Keith's chances at remaining in this event. Low, driven, lifting. Oh no! And the skip off the green into the water that looked good 90% of the way. You hate to see that. Such a great effort. Kevin just hoping that there's a pocket of the wind just slowing down for a moment. And it just turns over the forehand straight into the water.
Here we see the drop zone. Pretty simple shot. And just before these guys threw their tee shot, Calvin Heimberg from the wall, death putt from outside the circle, drained it to move to 21 under par.
And at this point, Paul realizes that Emerson, with missing this island, is no longer the rival. Right now, he is trying to battle off Calvin Heimberg, who is putting an incredible move from chase card. When at this point, I think the hot round in was Austin Hannum at 6 down. Calvin Heimberg with a birdie on 16 moved to 8 under.
Bogey free.
8 under.
Contrast that with Paul making birdie here.
Wow.
To be -1.
And
Calvin -8.
Yeah. Calvin, I believe, was 10 strokes back of McBeth entering the round. Emerson in for the bogey. Still firmly in 3rd place.
It's not that green and gray we were seeing the other day, is it?
It certainly isn't. Really the tale of 2 rounds, as you can tell how much that wind here in Emporia really dictates the flow of this course and this event. So difficult in the wind.
Hole 17, very difficult par 4, 774 feet with OB everywhere, and a tricky crossing shot where you almost have to go over OB to reach the basket. Calvin Heimberg played it perfectly, made birdie, 22 under.
It's just the freight train. Now he is 9 under for the round. Hole 18, not the most difficult, par 4. If he can birdie that one, then it's kind of putting the pressure on McBeth to just stay bogey free.
Paul inside hits a tree. Is this going OB?
And that limb
saved him.
Certainly saved him. I'm thinking there's no way that disc does not fade out of bounds. Incredible break right there, and even if it was going to stay in bounds, not the release that McBeth was looking for. I wonder if he's feeling the nerves of that chase card action with Calvin Heimberg's round.
I think he must be.
Rick just throws it again. This is either the 3rd or 4th or 5th drive we've seen him throw over 500 feet.
That was huge and such a low ceiling shot. The thing is not even head high and just screaming down the fairway.
He's worked so much. Emerson, higher than he would have liked, made its way pretty far down the fairway considering all the limbs he hit.
Oh, and Kevin
man,
way too much hyzer on that.
Just not Kevin's round. He is just 5 over at this point, and now he's out of bounds early.
Paul is looking at crossing the OB from here.
That doesn't seem like the safest
Instead
play.
of playing his way up the fairway and playing for par, he is going to go for this low ceiling. This is over OB right now.
Oh, my word.
Over the sand trap, skipping and crossing the line by maybe 20 feet.
And that just shows that that's what his comfort zone is going for those big shots.
If you miss that shot short, it's a tie at best.
And you might even be losing the lead. This is looking, wow. Kevin Jones.
What a throw.
That was an absolute blitz release. He's going to have a putt for a par save? That would be incredible.
Yeah. That was an incredible shot. I couldn't even tell exactly how close that got to the basket, but
I mean, that was over 450, I feel like.
And Emerson trying to get in bounds and hang on to that 3rd place position.
Look at how far Rick is off the tee. Just a little pitch hyzer.
Emerson will make par.
Paul with the impressive second, able to just pitch up his 3rd shot. That'll be a short putt for par. And Kevin from outside circle 2. Not quite as close as I thought he was going to be after that incredible 3rd from OB.
Here's Ricky for birdie.
And there it is. That is a challenging putt. Ricky drives it through the wind, low, over the cage, and in for the birdie.
Paul in for par, staying at 24 under. Kevin +6 for the round. Brutal conditions. On to the 18th. Par 4, 729. You've seen it before. These players are trying to go to the right and then set up the hyzer shot to the green. Calvin did just that, went to the right, backhand hyzer, leaning against the base, dunked that home to move to 10 under, bogey free, 1085 rated round, and that's criminal that it's that low.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah,
and he has put McBeth in a position where it's par to win it.
Par to win it, bogey's a playoff, and right now Calvin in the clubhouse as the leader at 23 under par. Truly a heroic effort from Chase Card, and we've seen so much of that over the last 2 seasons where
a lot riding on this shot right here. This looks to be nice. It doesn't look too fast. Yeah, he's going to like that position.
That almost seals the deal. It's almost inconceivable.
I don't know. In perfectly calm conditions, Paul hit a spotter's ankle to stay in bounds on that shot. I don't think he has a disc that he absolutely loves from that position.
Okay. Yeah, when he did that, however, he was most likely playing for birdie. The situation changes so much now that all he has to do is navigate a couple 100 feet, jump putt to the pin. But like you said, he does have a window he has to throw through. There is wind involved,
and you got to think look how he approached the last hole.
Mm-hmm.
How did he play for par there? By throwing the most aggressive shot.
True.
So you really. It's hard to say. I think you're smart money. You're right. It should be a shot that's short of the green, and a chip up from there.
Here we go. McBeth going with that same distance driver. I believe it's been an ESP Force all weekend. He's gone with this disc time and time again, and that is certainly less speed. And there's nothing wrong with that right there. That's exactly what he's looking for. And ladies and gentlemen, I think Paul McBeth, with all the drama he provided for us, with some errant throws and a couple missed putts, he still provided all the drama with the great shots. He's going to have a short pitch up to win this event by 1 stroke.
Wow.
He does it in every way possible.
Ricky not going to be happy with that. Kevin also with the little bit early release, climbing the hill.
And that's going to leave him with about 55, 60 feet or so. Kevin's going to look to finish this event and get home, get off the course.
Locks up a podium finish and a very respectable 3rd place.
And Rick, catching a little bit of the brick. That's not what he was looking for. Kevin Jones, 68 feet. Give him one. Come on.
What a putt. What a way to leave town, Nothing behind the basket but out of bounds there.
Wow.
Already 6 over for the day. Could have got worse, but he makes the birdie highlight fashion.
That is incredible to go for that putt from that distance. And there it is.
Beautifully done for Paul.
1 foot left for the championship. We just have Ricky and Emerson to go to tap out. Oh, well. We still have Ricky and Emerson left to tap out.
I don't think that ended up mattering. Did Ricky still make 4th?
That's a good question. Ricky, that did not matter. He had strokes to play with over Noah Meinsma.
And here you see Paul. Slow motion into the chains.
That's actually no camera tricks. That's exactly how fast Paul putted that one. It's incredible that he can control the disc at that speed from that distance.
There's your champion, Dynamic Discs Open 2020. Not a lot of autograph signing going on as he checks the scorecard with no spectators out here. It's a little different, a muted atmosphere because there was just the players, but I'm sure a championship that he's very happy with and a really well-played tournament aside from a little 3-hole stretch, maybe 5-hole stretch where things got very weird. But other than that, it was cruise control. I mean, he played phenomenally outside of that one little section of the third round.
And you've got to imagine that even though the World Championships are probably the most prestigious title, this may be one of the events that the field has wanted to win more than any other, just because of the national exposure that this event was brought with CBS Sports involvement. And so Paul McBeth, #1 player in the world for a number of years, he is your champion of the Dynamic Discs Open 2020. Congratulations to him, and congratulations to Calvin Heimberg for just playing lights out final round.
That just showed our top 10. The next best score was a -4. The -10 just jumps off the page at you. You know, like, incredible number, an incredible charge, you know, to make it interesting from the second card from 10 shots back.
I talked to him after the round, and he said it was one of the top 5 best feeling rounds he's ever played in his life. Wouldn't question that for a moment.
No, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. We will be back.
We'll catch you guys tomorrow. You guys are awesome.